Madam Mayor, it is 6:03 and we are live.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. We have a full house tonight. Love to see that. And good evening, everyone out there. Welcome to the welcome to the heck is that? Oh,
February 7th.
well, I'm going to show you what you gave me. The February 7th City
Oops.
Commission, regular City Commission meeting. Can you call the roll, please?
Yes, Mayor Betty Resch,
Here.
Vice Mayor Christopher McVoy,
Here.
Commissioner Sarah Maliga,
Present.
Commissioner Kimberly Stokes,
Here.
Commissioner Reynaldo Diaz.
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Diaz is going to lead us in the moment of silence or invocation, and I will lead the pledge.
I'll try to keep it short, but lately in the news, I'm sure all of us have seen what has happened in Turkey and Syria with that just incredibly massive and devastating earthquake that happened. And even though that seems so far away, it really was kind of a stark reminder of some of the natural disasters that we face here, even within Florida, as recently as our hurricanes on the West Coast. And we live in a world where there's probably fewer and fewer people who don't at least directly know somebody who's affected by these kind of disasters. So let's take a moment to think of those victims and the family of victims and share thoughts, share your thoughts in your own way. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, are there any additions, deletions, or reordering?
Yes, Madam Mayor, unfinished business A. The redistricting will be moved to after the consent agenda. And the motion on consent agenda item D, the settlement with Ms. Jackson, it was revised because the amount in the motion was incorrect.
Okay. Does that mean we don't have to pull that or anything, right? We can just,
No, it was a scrivener's error from the city attorney. I emailed her earlier.
thank you.
Hey, guys, we're gonna have a packed house. Everybody scooch over. We got people coming in.
And let's turn the air down more because it's going to be really hot here soon.
It's cold enough. I think we're okay.
Okay, so we have just a reordering. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as reordered?
Motion to approve is reordered.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Okay. First, we have some things to do. First, we have a presentation by Rhonda Geiger, who is General Counsel for the Palm Beach County Commission on Ethics, and she's going to get us all straightened out. And she can.
I'm here to remind everybody that we're here. Our purpose, is to hopefully doctor.
Oh,
I'm sorry, the mic's not on.
Yeah, we're fixing it.
There you go.
Just to remind everybody that we're here, the Commission on Ethics is here for everyone, including the public. If you have questions, I've handed out some stuff,
Right.
informational things. I put a couple of my cards, extra cards, here, and the top 10 things. We want to really just remind everybody here that, of course, if you have any questions about anything, ask us. We'd so much rather be proactive than reactive to ethics questions. Same to the public. We can take complaints any way you want to give them. We can take them anonymously. We can take them formally. Really, our goal is to foster public trust between the public, obviously, and government. That's what makes democracy great. So we don't want people thinking that it's one faction against the other. And that's our primary goal is just to do everything we can to keep everybody transparent, to answer any questions that anybody might have. One reminder I would say to everybody is on our website, we do, anytime people have questions, we do published opinions, and we have several hundred published opinions now. So if there is a situation that arises, you may just be able to put it in our search engine and figure it out by looking at an old opinion, dealing with conflicts, gifts, outside employment, just about anything you could think of. So we're definitely here to answer questions. We'd so much rather do it sooner than later.
Oh, yes.
So please feel free, anybody, to reach out to us. As I said, my cards are here. There's also just a general ethics. You could just send it to ethics at Palm Beach County. But I'm happy to take any emails as well. So don't forget about us.
I have a quick question.
Okay.
Like with a bar, I can call, again, the ethics hotline and just say, what about this? What about
Yes,
that?
yeah.
Can I do that with you guys?
Well, to a certain extent, if it's something simple or something that we can sort of distill into a quick set of facts,
What would be the best way to ask a question?
it depends. I mean,
Oh,
sorry.
Of course, you're a lawyer.
Of course I am. Yes. If there's complex questions, like I got something the other day that looked super easy, and I asked one extra question, and
And there it
became
went.
so it really does just
There
depend.
goes I just have a simple question.
It was.
Right.
In fact, it went from we can answer it over the telephone to being a formal written opinion.
Okay.
So,
No.
but we will do our best. We will answer them over the telephone if it's possible.
And is Mr. Romano still involved with the ethics? board?
Yes, he
And
is.
what role does he play?
He is on the commission.
And we are very proud that he's a former mayor of Lake Worth Beach.
He's the chief of our commission, actually.
right, there
Yes.
you
We
go.
just saw him earlier or just late last week. Yeah.
Please
So
give our regards to Mr.
I will,
and the entire board.
of course, yes.
Any other questions?
Anybody else?
Any questions? All right. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Take care.
Thank you, everyone.
Proclamations. I have two, and Ms. Stokes is going to read one of them, a third one. As we all know, February is Black History Month. Whereas during Black History Month, we celebrate the many achievements and contributions made by African Americans to our economic, cultural, spiritual, and political development. And whereas in 1915, Dr. Carter Goodwin Woodson, a noted Black scholar and the son of former slaves, founded the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. Black History Week was initiated by Dr. Woodson in 1926, and in 1976, as part of the nation's bicentennial, Black History Week was expanded to Black History Month and is now celebrated all over North America. And whereas the 2023 national theme for the observance is Black Resistance, African Americans have resisted historic and ongoing oppression in all forms, especially the racial terrorism of lynching, racial pogroms, and police killings since their arrival upon these shores. And whereas the observance of Black History Month calls our attention to the continued need to battle racism and build a society that lives up to its democratic ideals. And whereas the city of Lake Worth Beach continues to work toward becoming an inclusive community in which all citizens, past, present, and future, are respected and recognized for their contributions and potential contributions to our community, the state, the country, and the world. And whereas the city of Lake Worth Beach is proud to honor the history and contributions of African Americans in our community throughout our state and nation. Now, therefore, I, Betty Resch, Mayor of the City of Lake Worth Beach, Florida, by virtue of the authority vested in me, do hereby proclaim February 2023 as Black History Month in the City of Lake Worth Beach, and I have sealed it with my signature. And a bit of publicity for Ted and the group on Saturday at 11 o'clock? 10 o'clock on Saturday, starting at the post office, there is going to be a Black History Walk, and maybe Mr. Bonsick would like during public comments, tell us more about that. Thank you. Next. Whereas the city of Lake Worth Beach is a rich ethnic and racial community that prides itself on its diverse population. And whereas the founding of the charter of the city and supporting statutes through the 1960s provided for legal discrimination uniquely between white and colored residents. And the city now wishes to move forward by providing equal protection under the law in harmony with the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. And whereas there is an ongoing need to overcome legacy of racial discrimination by positive action to educate its citizens and provide equal opportunity to all. And whereas the Lake Worth MLK Committee, the Lake Worth Interfaith Network, and numerous other community organizations have come together to organize 28 days of anti-racism. To organize a 28 days of anti-racism campaign during February 2023 to educate the public about the local history of Black anti-racism and the remedial measures that have been taken to overcome historic discrimination. And whereas the 28-day campaign includes a calendar of inspirational quotes, videos, site visits, church visits, a bike tour, support for minority-owned businesses, a multicultural potluck dinner, concerts, and other events aimed at education and fellowship across racial lines. And whereas details and information about the emerging events can be found online at www.facebook.com LWIN diverse. So it's a Facebook page, apparently, LWIN diversity, and www.lwinterfaith.net. And whereas the city of Lake Worth Beach supports these positive steps by providing publicity, venues, and logical support, and sometimes an occasional t-shirt. And whereas the city of Lake Worth Beach aims to continue to build what Dr. Martin Luther King called the beloved community, where its residents may live in a spirit of sisterhood and brotherhood. Now therefore, I, Betty Resch, am very proud as the mayor of the city of Lake Worth, by virtue of the authority vested in me, do hereby acknowledge February 2023 as Anti-Racism Month. And I have put my seal on this on the 7th day of February 2023. Thank you. You want a picture? Oh, yeah, of course. Why do you have really, you with the t-shirt should be down there. We should all be down there? We all care about this.
Again, if they allow me to speak, I just didn't. Oh, okay. Yeah, go around. Go around. Go around.
I drank a whole thing of water before I got here. That's really thirsty. That's why. Well, it's time of proving.
I'm speaking.
Oh, now you're late.
We have one more proclamation and Ms. Stokes is going to read that.
Whereas 211 Helpline and Crisis Line continues to be that beacon of hope, providing life-saving crisis support and guidance when people are overwhelmed and don't know where to turn. And whereas there were over 125,000 requests for help last year. And whereas during these challenging times that include pandemic impact and economic instability and recent hurricanes, 211's caring and highly trained staff have been the frontline responders 24/7 through it all. And whereas people of all ages and walks of life are reaching out for their growing struggles with mental and emotional health, addiction, housing, health, and other concerns, 211 staff listen to each and every person to provide available resource options and to help them strategize and problem solve. And whereas 211 also has specialized advocacy and support programs for the community that include caregiver support, Help Me Grow, and 211's life-saving Sunshine daily phone calls, which continue to brighten the lives of isolated seniors and caregivers. And whereas 211 also responds to the 988 Lifeline number and support lines that include first responders, and My Florida Vet for veterans with peer-to-peer support, providing assistance to these specialized groups and their families. Now, therefore, she, Betty Resch, Mayor of the City of Lake Worth Beach, by virtue invested in her, on behalf of the City Commission, do hereby proclaim February 11th through 17th, 2023 as 211 Awareness Week, and urge all citizens to be aware that if they are overwhelmed and in crisis or just need to talk, 211 is available any time of the day or night, and that 211 staff can also provide referrals for mental health counseling, substance abuse, healthcare, employment, food assistance, daycare, support groups, volunteering, VITA-free income tax preparation, and so much more. And witness whereof, she will set her hand and cause the seal of the City of Lake Worth Beach, Florida to be affixed this 7th day of February 2023.
Thank you very much. And I believe we have some folks from 211 here. Why don't you come up and just give us a little hello? Yeah, I mean, would you like a picture with the?
Yes, you want to do that first? Okay.
What? We just came back.
It's gonna be real simple.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Mayor and Commission. Really appreciate your support. I've been coming here a long time and you guys have been right there with us. We answer about 350 calls per day. We do have a 5-county service area, but Palm Beach County makes the lion's share of the calls that come in. Last year, we had over 49,500 requests for help from Palm Beach County residents. They had over 76,000 problems and needs expressed. And as you know, it's no secret that housing was the #1 need that was expressed by Palm Beach County residents. We had over 21,000 requests that was representing 28% of the needs. So we're getting 58 calls per day from people that are looking for housing or struggling with housing. On our website, we do have a Palm Beach 211 counts. It's real-time data, but it's raw data. So if you wanted to see the breakdown on the housing needs, you could go to our website, 211palmbeach.org, go to the About tab, and then underneath that, you'll see publications. And we have that link to see real-time data if you're interested in doing that, anybody in the community. Mental health and substance use was our second highest need, which, as you know, people struggling with housing, that's impacting their medical health and their mental health as well. We had 20,500 calls, which made up 27% of the total needs. That's 56 callers per day reaching out for help with their mental health and substance use disorders. And as we mentioned, we are the responders to the 988 number. So there should be no confusion. You can either dial 211 or 988. It's answered by our staff that have been highly trained. We're there to de-escalate and get that person the services that they need. So I don't want any confusion there. We also have the programs for children and families. We have Help Me Grow, Catching Growth Developmental Delays. Families can call our specialist and they'll do the screenings right over the phone because we know it's important to catch those so that they can get the care that they need to be successful as children. We also have our special needs helpline. Should a family have a child 0 to 22 with a disability, we can help them navigate services and have that supportive piece. We also have our Sunshine program, which is one of our favorite feel-good programs. And I have Daphne here. She's our new representative for senior programs. We're calling about 600 seniors every day to check in, say hi. And that program is life-saving because if we don't hear them, from them when we call, we're setting the wheels in motion to have their backup list contacted. And if nobody knows, we have a law enforcement do a welfare check. And we have literally had seniors that were on the floor. We had one lady in Vero Beach that was laying in her bathtub till she knew we were calling her at 9. That becomes a 911 call, obviously, because she needs medical care. But we save lives with that program every day and it's free. We also have an elder crisis outreach program. If a senior in Palm Beach County over 60 is struggling, vulnerable, needs handheld case management to get them linked to meals Meals on Wheels and other valuable services. We have staff that can do that. We also have a caregiver support project. So those family caregivers that are adults caregiving for another adult family member, we can provide that supportive piece, navigation of services. They can also get a sunshine call because we know during this pandemic, the previous pandemic, I should say, or I think we're about out of the pandemic. I'm confused, but anyway, we basically know that these caregivers were very isolated and had mental health concerns. So we can call and check on a caregiver. So whether it's a spouse caregiving for another, their other spouse, or an adult child caregiving for a parent, we can check to make sure everything's going okay, because God forbid something happens. We also have our My Florida Vet program and our first responders. Those are both support lines. So with the veterans, we can help active duty, we can help veterans and their families get resources, and that's peer-to-peer. So we have staff on board that are veterans. We also have, with that first responder, again, peer-to-peer. So we do have staff that have had that background, and that could be 911 dispatch, that could be law enforcement, firefighters, it could be a part of the corrections and detention, and also the EMTs. So we know that they have a lot of stressors. They can reach out to us for a hero-to-hero support line and just call 211 and we'll work with them. So a lot of good things going on. We're ever expanding to meet the needs of the community. And again, I want to thank you. And during this awareness, it's actually Awareness Month and Awareness Week and an Awareness Day. So we hit it all.
We are
The triple trifecta. So please get the word out in the community. Any of you out there, if you encounter somebody that's struggling, not sure where to turn, just have them dial 211. Appreciate it. Thank you.
so much. Loneliness and isolation for older people and disabled people is a tragedy.
Yeah.
Thank you for saving lives. Okay, now we have commission liaison reports and comments, and I will start with District 1.
In the presence of time in a packed house, I will forego, my update.
Okay, thank you. District 2.
That's me. I would just like to share, I'm very glad that we are, as we have other years, doing the Black History Month. Thank you to the Lake Worth Interface Group and MLK committees and the other committees that always put that together. The educational aspects are very helpful. I was privileged to be able to join the AFL-CIO legislative breakfast on Sunday. And I tell you, people are very aware of some of the things that are going on at the state level and very concerned about them, both relating to Black history, relating to other groups that seem to be not being treated that well. Very big concern. I asked all to be very vigilant about directions of our government.
Thank you. Commissioner Stowe?
Oh, yes. I am going to be out of town next week, so I only have one taco talk this month where I can meet with anybody who wants to come. I'm unavailable next week, but February 23rd, I'll be at Cafe Tikkun again from 5 p.m. till 6. So anybody who wants to come and talk to me, share concerns with me and other people that attend, February 23rd, and we will push that out on social media once it gets closer.
Thank you.
And then I just wanted to say one thing as well. I was also invited to the Treasure Coast AFL-CIO breakfast, and usually, so all of our local representatives were there. Senator Bobby Powell, who's now overseeing Lake Worth, our Senator Lori Berman, still senator, but not ours, was also there, and then Javante Edmonds. And usually they come to us and tell us what's happened when they come back. And we got the pleasure of hearing what's about to happen before they leave. And it's not looking good for education.
Oh.
It is not looking good for education at all. And we know that. And it was hammered down there. They're attacking teacher unions. They don't want us to have teacher unions. They're trying to raise the bar so high. We don't have that protection anymore. They're going after school boards. They want to impose their will on our local school boards, make elections partisan, put in term limits. That's our choice, not theirs. We've heard about how the governor does not want to allow us to offer an elective. AP African American history is an elective. You don't want to take it? Don't take it. But don't deprive everybody else that opportunity. College board is a well-vetted, well-respected entity. And it's against apparently our state's wishes of how we want to teach history and racism in our schools. So we're testing our students 3 times a year now, not just one. Kindergartners are being tested. Teachers can't send books home with their students anymore. I was also at North Grade SAC meeting on Monday, and we were brainstorming what we can do for kids that didn't have a pre-K education. And parents said, you know, before COVID, we really liked those bags of books you used to send home with us. We can't do it anymore. They have to be scanned in, and they have to be logged, and they have to be vetted. And our teachers are so used to going to a thrift store and seeing a book that's in good shape and using their own money, buying these books, taking donated books, sending them home to the children, and they're afraid to do it. And we legally are not allowed to do it. It's really not good for us. So they're going up there. Oh, school vouchers. Anybody can get a school voucher to private education. No longer needs-based. This is what's coming up. This is what they're fighting for. They're trying to destroy public education. So it was bleak, but I was hoping at the end of the breakfast, all the unions trying to come together, because understanding when they're attacking teachers, when they're attacking schools, it's just going to be the other labor unions next. And we have to stand together and we have to speak out against this. So yeah, it was pretty depressing. They also mentioned a word that I know people have been circulating in this community as we're talking about redistricting. They mentioned why can the state do whatever they want with this new supermajority they have? And they of course they mentioned that Governor Ron DeSantis, in an unprecedented move, submitted a congressional map that he created. You do not want your politicians creating maps. I'm sorry, you don't. It was high. This is coming from the League of Women Voters, a nonpartisan group that says he submitted a congressional map that was highly politically gerrymandered and reduced the number of African-American access districts by half. That happened at the state level. It's being challenged in court. Doesn't matter. We used that map not last election. We'll probably use it next one as we wait for it to go through the court system. We hired an outside independent to help us with our maps. I know it's painful. I know it's emotional. You don't want any one of us up here doing those maps. That's why we hired him. So that's kind of what was going on. And it's just scary.
Thank you
Sorry.
for that cheery note. Moving along in a positive fashion, Commissioner Diaz, what have you got for us?
Yeah, I unfortunately missed the meeting Saturday and the breakfast because I had work things I had to attend to. But a question for Commissioner Stokes: what day was the taco talk that you're gonna miss? Like when is that?
Well, I'm not going to be there next Thursday.
Right, because I can fill in if it goes out there. So I can fill in for that taco talk. Other than that, I'll keep it short. I do want to plug something that the county offers right here in Palm Beach County. Well, not just here, but there is through the Lake Worth Lagoon Initiative, we offer a winter fishing challenge, and it's basically a online fishing tournament that is also a citizen science project where we collect data on fisheries. And that's coming up from February 11th to February 25th. And I bring it up because, you know, we're so lucky here in Lake Worth to have so much lagoon side property devoted to public use. So generally this tournament we do every summer. This is the first time it's being done in the winter. And generally most of the data comes from, you know, either around the state park in the north end or it comes from Lake Worth, because we have Snook Islands as great fishing docks and of course Bryant Park and all that. So I just wanted to put that plug out there, you know, to get more participants. There's probably a lot of people listening who already fish those docks or fish Bryant Park. And if you're going to be doing that, you know, participate in this. It's an online app. Information is on the Lake Worth Lagoon Initiative website, which is lwli.org, fishing challenge. And there's like thousands of dollars of prizes worth. And usually, you know, especially with kids and stuff, you're almost guaranteed to win something. And then on that note, I've gotten a lot of recent questions regarding our shoreline properties and different, you know, many aspects of it. And I can proudly say, you know, we have good allies, if you will, from the county on this regard, because Lake Worth for years has really taken a forward-looking initiative on improving our lagoon and taking on environmentally friendly projects. And so it is something I've talked about with Carmen. I'm looking at starting something that's a plan of sorts, or just a really big document that's coalescing a lot of the work that we already do as a city that benefits our lagoon. It should help us acquire more funding for future projects, and things on my radar that I'm sure we'll discuss at the next pre-agenda meeting is our golf course improvements to the golf course, and also things like the mooring field. It would just be another tool to bring in more allies and partners to help us move closer to that very much needed and long overdue goal.
Thank you. Speaking of the golf course, Carmen Davis and I had the actual pleasure that today, a few days ago, I met a couple of the ladies that golf like every day at the golf course. They're members of the Women's League. And they gave us a tour this afternoon, a golf cart tour of the golf course, which I had never seen the whole thing. And it was very interesting. And I'm sure when we speak about it in the sunshine with Mr. Diaz, we'll have a lot of things to talk about because there's quite a bit of room for improvement in general at a golf course. Another example of our old friend delayed maintenance. You know, there's potholes, we have some problems. But thank you for bringing that up. So other things real quick. The Literacy Coalition of Palm Beach County every year has a thing called Read for the Record Palm Beach County. And different elected officials and staff go out and read. Every year they read, everybody reads the same book. This year it was called Nigel and the Moon. And I'm proud that our city of Lake Worth Beach again participated. And I don't know how, I was out of town, but I think everybody else was able, including Carmen, to read. And thank you very much for your participation in that. Just a couple of real quick things. The earthquake, a nightmare. I can't even think about it. We all just have to send our prayers. Our Lake Worth High School basketball team is on fire and it's making the finals, and we're going to go to the Coach Baxley and his young men are really on fire. It's just amazing. Other good news, some of you are aware that the school district was considering redistricting the south part of our school district, of our town, from 12th Avenue South, and bus our children to Boynton Beach High School. A lot of people sent letters, commission sent a letter. I got a nice email from the principal the other day. Everyone is so happy. They have changed their minds. Our kids are not going anywhere. So, I was trying to gather the troops to go on the 15th to the school board meeting to say, please don't do this. But I'm going to go in person. Anybody that wants to, I know when people come, rarely, surprisingly, does someone come up and say, thank you for what you just did. I'm going to do that for the school board. And anybody else that wants to join me to go to the school board and say, thank you for, doing right by Lake Worth children. Please join me. I'll be the 15th. I think it's at 6 o'clock. And that's it. City managers.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just have a few things. One, I want to let you know, just to give you an update, we have received and responded to the housing study that we issued out for the RFP. And so I have reviewed that just to make sure it was responsive to the RFP guidelines, and scheduling a meeting with the respondent next week, just to clarify some questions, just to make sure it's in proper preparation for the presentation. And so my goal is to bring that before the commission on March 4th for your review and consideration. And so I'm looking forward to that. The second thing.
Let me ask you one question, if I may. I hate to interrupt, but that housing study, did that include looking at the Airbnb, the short-term rentals, and the effect that it has on our city?
Yes, it did. You all had the foresight at the time when you approved the study to include an analysis and data as to the impact on the city.
Okay, now I know we have a
short-term rentals.
Okay, so that's going to be some hopefully important information. And I'm just wondering, on Thursday, we have a special meeting scheduled. I think it's a
Yes, special meeting this Thursday, February 9th on short.
Okay, which is good because that's it's a chance for the public to have input. But my suggestion is, until we get some results from that, if we in fact take on this study from the person that responded, the people that responded, that would be more information for us to look at when we make a final decision about it.
Certainly, I believe so.
Okay, so I'm not looking for us. This is just me responding. Looking for a final decision on Thursday because we need that information as well.
Yes.
Okay,
Sure.
but I want everyone that has an opinion, and a lot of people are on Facebook talking about, the Airbnb stuff. Send us your opinions. I have asked for opinions for people that say something on Facebook, and crickets. Let us know what you're thinking. Just email us and let us know what you're thinking, because that's helpful. This is a policy decision. It's not just based on numbers or different things. This is a policy decision about one of the directions of the city. And so I think all of us encourage as much input as possible. So come on Thursday or come ahead of time. Thank you.
Yes, and the second item I had, real quickly, I want to welcome Yannick back,
Yes.
the interim finance director.
Stand up, Yanni.
We're pleased to have him back.
Our money man. Coach Ken, you're a very clever woman.
Glad to have him back.
Thank you so much.
And finally, speaking of Lake Worth High, we have a few baseball team members here present who would like to give a few words of compliment to the commission.
Well, there you go. We've been paying a lot of attention to the basketball team and I apologize.
For good
But-
reason, for good reason. Yeah.
But you guys are just starting your season.
Yeah, we start February 20th is our first game.
How many home games do you have during the season?
12,
Okay.
12 home games.
And I spoke with Chris and he's gonna get us the schedule because we're all gonna come out and cheer you on.
Absolutely.
Those are on A Street, right?
Yep,
Yep.
right on Manzo Field.
Manzo-
Taught with
Yeah.
them for several years.
Speaking of which,
That's exactly what we're getting to. Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Commissioners. For the record, I'm Ryan Jackalone, varsity baseball coach, Lake Worth Community High School. To my left is senior Liam Landers and junior Mark Herman. This will be my third season as the varsity coach, and I wanted to take this time tonight on behalf of the players, the coaches, the school, and even the alumni. We have a very strong baseball alumni at Lake Worth High School. Thank people at the city of Lake Worth, the city leader, staff, Chris and Lauren, for the hard work and numerous improvements that have happened to Dave Manzo Field over the last 2 or 3 years since I've taken over. Lauren and Chris and the rest of their staff, they've put a lot of resources and manpower into revitalizing Dave Manzo Field, including pressure cleaning the entire spectator area, dugouts, bleachers, and walkways, cleaning out the underside of the bleachers and built up debris, painting the backstop and player benches, adding and leveling a dump truck full of clay to the infield for pitchers like Liam here. The pitcher's mound was just rebuilt just last week for player safety and stability, which was a major improvement to our field that we're very glad to have. And last week, our outfield wall, it's a brick wall. We spent the team bonding day. The city provided, I believe, 10 or 11 gallons of paint, and we painted 6,000 square feet of brick wall in the school color maroon, which was awesome. So if you want to stop by, you can come check that out. Still need some touch-up work because some high school kids did it, but it's almost done.
just our kids.
Yeah. Just this past Saturday, we had our annual alumni game, which got an overwhelming amount of positive feedback from all the alumni we have, including Dave Manzo, about the improvements going on to Dave Manzo Field. The facility is looking much better. There's still more to be done. And again, we just wanted the players, school staff, coaches, thank you guys, the city and everybody else helping, and hope to see you guys starting February 20th for some home games and have your continued support.
That would be great. Thank you.
First home game. Yeah,
My husband is a sports degenerate and follows high school sports.
there we go.
So he will be keeping me tabs of what's going on this season. So do us proud. Thank you
Sounds
so
good.
much.
Thank you.
One last thing.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're still on.
Commissioner Diaz just reminded me, and I don't want to miss out. Our Public Works Department was nominated for Complete Street nominee this past Friday. Unfortunately, we were not granted the award, but we're certainly proud of the team for being nominated because, of course, they were among such very notable and tough competition. But we're out there, and next year, we believe we're going to get it. But we appreciate all that the Public Works Department does to make sure our streets are clean and well-traveled for our safety.
Thank you. Our Public Works Department is terrific. Thank you so much. And thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Okay, next up, we have public participation of non-intended items. And I have just given the parts making poor Carmen. Hey, Tish. All right. Thank you. Why don't you pass them out real quick? Anybody else? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, it's a great way to do it. It's pretty. Okay. Mr. Ron Hensley? Hi, name and address, please.
Name is Assistant Ambassador Ron Hensley, address 728 North A Street.
Thank you.
And you there?
Oh, there you go.
Ronald Hensley, 728 North A Street. Good evening, Commissioners, Mayor, and City Manager. The reason I'm up here to talk today is because we have an issue on the so-called Greenway that is was 8th Avenue North at one given time. And it seems that a lot of neighbors are taking, a lot of the residents have taken that Greenway over for their own personal needs, and there needs to be a crosswalk put at the beginning of the Greenway on A Street. Because I watch every morning, people, the kids going to school, they cut across right there coming off the Greenway. So it's just a matter of time for one of them kids going to be hit by a car with the way that people are traveling that road now. It's an increase on foot traffic and bicycle traffic, handicapped people. You all use this Greenway and everything to cut through to go down to the school. So I feel there needs to be something put there across that will give the safety to the kids with maybe even speed bumps and a stop sign there for their own safety.
Ms. Davis is taking a note. All right, okay, so this is nothing. Thank you.
That's it.
Across A Street.
Yes, across
The
A
Greenway
Street,
up there, yeah.
which it would have been 8th Avenue North going straight across.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Tom Connor? Hello.
Good evening, Commissioners, Ambassador Tom Connor, City of Lake Worth. I'd like to thank you for all of your work that this administration's been doing. I see a lot of hard work, and that makes our residents proud and myself. I want to bring up, we got residents that's talking to me because they really, I guess, don't fear or they don't have the transportation like I would have to be able to come to the city commissions. But they're coming to my attention that from 7th Avenue North and A Street, all the way to 10th Avenue North, we have very high speeding traffic. They could get the cars up to 100 to 102 coming through there, and they just fly. What we need to do is, I know South Avenue, on the South Avenue and A, they did put some speed curbs in. They did put speed bumps in. They're asking, why can't we have that in our area? Because there's no stop signs from 7th to 10th. And then we also do not have any speed limits. Right now, they do have a calm area, but people are just going over it. It's usually in the evenings and weekends. We have somebody's going to get hit. Like my assistant ambassador had explained earlier, if somebody's bound to get hit because we have kids crossing, handicapped people crossing. But we want, I've been working with staff, but I could only do so much. And like I say to the residents, we're trying our best. So thank you.
Thank you. And I did not ask your address, but I see that it's 728 North A.
And that's 728 North A, yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Peggy Fisher, it's A Street moment. Here's the A Street crowd.
A Street team, that's right. It sounds familiar, doesn't it? 508 North A Street, the speeding doesn't just start at 7th Avenue, it starts all the way back on 2nd Avenue. As you all have heard me say many, many times. But
Never.
PBS, no, I know, PBSO has had a motorcycle unit out there during the day. Peggy Fisher, 508 North A Street. I respectfully ask that you amend your rules of procedure, which you have done many, many times, to include a section on public participation other than decorum. Regarding the rules that you all have in place on how to submit public comment, whether it is online, where I do think you need to go back to read all comments submitted online, or via these little blue cards. And you need to amend or correct the back of this blue card. Yeah, there's a time clock. It doesn't help me at all, as it says here, because it never changes to 2 minutes or 3 minutes or 10 minutes. The public participation is not at the end of all agenda items. There should be no discretion on reading comments and emails and fax. They should not be allowed to be read into public comment unless they're from an official entity. And there's a thing about how you submit blue cards. It says submitted to staff. If you come into this room before the start of a meeting, there's no staff. Therefore, if I put my comment in that box, are you going to relabel it to say staff so that now it's counted as being committed to staff? Or because some of you have raised issues about people dropping off their comments. You need to correct what these are. You need to put them in your rules and procedures so that it is clear to everyone. There are 3 ways to submit comments: blue card, Zoom, online. And I would again reiterate that North A Street is a problem that this commission, not just you, previous commissions, previous commissions refuse to address in this city. It has become a major thoroughfare. And you all have blindly closed your eyes to it, whether it's morning traffic, afternoon traffic, going south on North A, it backs up past Second Avenue, trying to get on Lake Worth Road.
Or 10th Avenue.
Right. Oh, 10th Avenue can go back a block or more.
Right.
And in the morning on school times, the intersection of North A and 7th Avenue is gridlocked with parents trying to get to the school to drop off their children. And the same in the afternoon to pick up. So you all have let this happen. And I mean the commission, not you particularly, but the commissions have let this happen. And one reminder, you are a nonpartisan commission. And I know we all have our personal feelings, but we shouldn't take our public political feelings and express them from the dais. Thank you.
Thank you. Hold down the applause, please. Thank you. Richard Stowe. A rebel. There's a rebel back there.
Richard Stowe, 414 North Federal Highway. Madam Mayor and Commissioners, I want to thank you for reaffirming your support for preserving and restoring 24 South Al and 26 South Al and preserving 17 South M in situ. I applaud Mayor Rush's call to save the contributing historic resource, which Betty endearingly refers to as the dentist office. I ask that each and every one of you line up to support Mayor Betty's call to preserve this charming Art Deco structure. And revisit the City Commission's unanimous January 24th motion to demolish 6 contributing historic buildings. The city, unless it wisely changes course, sets a terrible precedent for private property owners. Your actions indicate that you reward the CRA for pursuing demolition by neglect and speculative demolition. Your unanimous vote reinforces to the public that these are acceptable actions with no consequences. The orderly process of our excellent historic preservation ordinance, which states that contributing historic resources shall not be demolished unless a concurrent plan has been upended. I'm concerned. One reason I'm concerned is that an estimate for the contributing resource at 509 Lake Avenue was never sought. 2, neither the community sustainability or CRI staff properly inform the city commission of critical historic preservation and grant opportunities, such as the $500,000 times two, because the CRA and the city both can apply, Division of Historic Resources grant, matching grant, which starts on April 1st. Also, the DOE Energy Efficiency and Conservation Block Grant opportunities and other energy efficiency grants, nor the ability of the commission to utilize the one set infrastructure surtax revenue for energy efficiency improvements. This omission is especially frustrating since the Director of Sustainability, William Waters, earned a master's degree in historic preservation at the University of Virginia and once worked for REG Architects, a noted historic preservation firm. Rick Gonzalez, Mr. Waters' former boss, recently called the sad state of affairs in Old Town demolition by neglect. It's time to reverse course from the ill-suited advice and actions you've received from city and the CRA staff and set a goal to carry out restoration of more structures and thoroughly examine all grant opportunities. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Tom Conboy. Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, fellow commissioners. Not fellow commissioners, commissioners. Thomas Convoy, 30 South M Street, business owner. I'm here to talk a little bit about public participation. And I think that public participation is really valuable in a city like ours, and it should be encouraged by all of our members. And I just want to say that, first off, someone mentioned the rules of decorum. I did try to look up the rules of decorum on the HTTPS link there, and it was not on the website. So just a note to your webmaster to get that fixed so we can all find those rules of decorum. That being said, I handed out passed out something to you guys on Small Business Administration Hub Zone. And there's been a lot of attacks on Christopher and myself about the fact that South Florida Engineering and Consulting is a hub zone firm. I think this is a great opportunity for many more businesses in our city. Okay. This allows much easier access to get work with the federal government. The more work we bring to the city of Lake Worth, that's federal government, is dollars into our city. That's dollars into professionals' lives. And so let me just explain a little bit about the hub zone itself. It's historically underutilized business zones. It's based upon census data and the salaries of the people living in those census tracts. So there's certain zones, designated hub zones. So for any company out there that wants to become a hub zone, your main office needs to be located in a hub zone, and 35% of your employees need to live in a hub zone. So what this does is it encourages companies to locate in hub zones. It also encourages their employees to locate in hub zones. So an engineering firm like mine, that's bringing in high-level, good paid people into our historically underutilized business zones. That's adding value to our city. It's adding a lot of value. If there's any small business owners out there that are interested in doing work with the federal government, I would be happy to help them if they meet the requirements to become a hub zone. I just want to also highlight that for us, Christopher and I, to influence those numbers of the salaries, it would be impossible. Okay. And well, it might be impossible, but it would be very big stretch, way bigger than I could do. And just to highlight how stupid that argument is, our office is now slated to not be in a hub zone. Much of Lake Worth is still a hub zone. Now, if we have a 10-year lease in the hub zone, we still have another 10 years as a hub zone firm. And that allows us to keep that up. So the
Thank you, that's time.
doing anything unethical is insane.
Okay, let's not get further. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Dunbar.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ted? Ted, come on. Oh, there you are. You're right there.
It's hard to keep track of me.
I know.
Ted Brownstein, 1016 South Lakeside. You know, when Madam Mayor invited me to
Folks, could we have sign? We keep it down. Thank you.
appreciate the invitation to let the public know about our walking tour of downtown Lake Worth as part of the 28 Days of Anti-Racism campaign. It's going to be this Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. We're going to meet in front of the post office at the Black Diamonds Memorial. And one of the things I'm most excited about, I think I saw Ed DeVoe walk in the room.
He's in the hallway.
Oh, he's in the hall. Okay. Anyway, Ed and others in the community who lived through the Jim Crow era here have stories to tell that really put, human, lives. And the storytelling is going to be an exciting part of the tour. So we don't think of downtown necessarily as the place where there's a lot of history like this, but it'll be interesting. We'll be stopping at several places along the way, like where the old segregated water fountains were, and telling stories about what things that actually happened there. And we'll stop at the mural behind the Cultural Council, and we'll go to the Samuel James grave site, and then we'll end up at the waterfront.
And this is
So-
going to be walking.
Saturday, yeah, it's about oh, well, you have a cane, Betty. We'll give you a golf cart. Yeah, we'll get you a golf cart like we did for the MLK March. And I also wanted to thank the city for the beautiful job that was done on the marquee to promote the 28-day campaign. Frankly, I think we contacted the city at 8:30, and by 10 o'clock, we had a yes from the assistant city manager, and the 1st of February, it was out there and animated and looks great. So really thank the city for those supports and so many other ways. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
And I want to do a shout out to Ginny Powell, who is a master gardener in our city. I reached out to her because the Black Diamond thing at the, it was so sad. So I reached out to her, and by Saturday, it's going to be planted.
Ooh,
So
excellent.
it should look a lot better.
Well, thanks to you
thank
and
you.
Ginny and
Thank you.
the whole
Ginny,
group.
for- She's
Wonderful.
doing the work.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Mr. Armbruster, do you want to read this or do you want me to read this? Oh, Ms. Armbruster, you want me to read it? Okay. This is from Casey Armbruster from 1031 North East Street. Would like to, she would like cameras to be installed along Barnett Drive going from 10th Avenue North to Lake Worth Middle School, as there has been plenty of fights and traffic are causing issues fights that are causing issues with business and traffic. Thank you. I've heard that a little bit. Dr. Archie Klepfer is my vet, and I hear what's going on sometimes there as well. So another note to the city manager. Thank you. Thank you. Did I miss anybody? I don't want to leave anybody out. If anybody, okay, great.
I have
Well-
one, Madam Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
So it's from Andrew Gottlieb, 151 Harvard Drive. He lives and works in Lake Worth and has been a resident for the last 15 years. I would like to make a general comment about the loss of historic structures, the loss of affordable housing, often in the guise of workforce housing, and the generous use of resident tax dollars to developers. I am concerned that CRA and city staff believe development for development's sake alone benefits our community. Quality of life for all existing residents needs to be part of the decision-making process. Not all of us have time to participate in every meeting. Some folks have financial interests and often have what appears to be an outsized voice. Many of us moved to Lake Worth because it was a smaller beach town. We set roots and invested our time and resources to make the city a healthy, enjoyable place to live. I'm commenting under this agenda item because after reviewing the RPC recommendation package, I see yet again we are aiming to give large amounts of money to developers and at the same time thinking about placing a large 5-story building on Lake Avenue. I hope the commission will consider this is not a good idea. We need to maintain some of the open feel in our community, and destroying an existing city building and creating a canyon along Lake Avenue will degrade the feel of our downtown. Currently, you feel the ocean breeze and see the blue sky. The open space makes events like the Street Painting Festival special and uniquely Lake Worth. Please be cautious in how you aim to develop downtown. We can wisely integrate green space, existing historic buildings, and add housing. Also, please note that the Planning Council mock-up had inconsistent drawings, and hence one really could not fully review the recommendations. Again, I hope we can find an answer that is not another 5-story building and cookie cutter development. Let's keep Lake Worth special and take advantage of our unique character. Thanks for making the time and thanks for all of the hard work. That's the only comment I have.
Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. Quickly, consent agenda. Do I have a motion? Motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Minutes, Madam Mayor.
Yes, sir, ma'am. What?
The minutes are supposed to be first, but.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes? Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. So we've done those two now. Now, we are looking at unfinished. Not, okay, that's, no, we're doing that. We reported. Now we're doing, yeah, you're right. It's been a long day. Okay. Unfinished business A. This is the selection of the final redistricting map. I'm looking for a motion.
Motion to approve map 5.
Second.
All in favor?
Wait.
No, wait. No, stop.
A lot of people.
I mean, do we have to say anything? We have a motion, a second. Do we have any, I think you've done, out of what, just stayed seated for a while. I think we're good. I have some public comment cards. Madam Clerk, do you have any public comment cards?
Yes, I have 10.
Oh, you don't? Well, let's have the folks in the city here speak first. Carla Blockson's up first. And now you know the direction we're headed. Chris, Greg, just give it to me. Just Greg, just give it to Greg, give it to me. Didn't save her trip. Good evening, ma'am.
Hi, I almost wouldn't have had to made a comment had you went on with that vote. Why not? So I won't say all I was going to say. But Carla Blockson, 1802 Pierce Drive. I think that you're voting for option 5 is the best thing for the city. I attended the meeting on Saturday and everyone who spoke about how important option 5 was to the community and how it kept the community together. And I hope that you all listened. Thank you.
Thank you. Ted Bronstein. And up after that, Mary Ellen Healy. On deck.
Ted Brownstein, 1016 South Lakeside. I'm going to keep my comments short too. We were talking the other day about the history of the Osborne community. And you know that Wingfield was the divider between Whispering Palms, which at one time was segregated all white. But now, since the desegregation, a lot of people who have connections to the Osborne community have moved to the area still on the south side that was Whispering Palms, but is not in the traditional Osborne community. So that redistricting map 5 now encompasses those people that have roots in the Osborne community. So just wanted to, perhaps that'll, from your decision, I support option 5 as well. Thank you.
Very much. That's interesting. I did not know that. Mary Ann Healy, then Greg Richter.
Mary Ellen Healy, 323 South Federal Highway, apartment 11. Madam Mayor and Commissioners, I want to thank you and I want to thank staff and I want to thank the members of the Charter Review Advisory Committee that started work in July of 2021, putting together really wonderful discussions about our charter and suggested changes that you considered and are bringing us here to February of 2023. So option 5 has my support as the better way to balance the population for single district voting. And please don't forget to add language to the charter to require review of district population every 10 years after each census so that we will continue to work together and hear all voices. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, well, once again, this commission has taken the bold step of doing redistricting after 100 years.
Can I just say option 5?
Thank you very much, Mr. Richter. Peggy Fisher. And after Peggy, Thomas Osterholt.
Peggy Fisher, 508 North 8th Street. As I've said every time I've spoken up here, we need to keep the Osborne community together. Option 5. You also need to get this resolution done. Get whatever needs to be done to amend the charter because we are approaching a time frame for election. Where a qualifying period and a period for residency for anybody who wants to run. And they need to know what district they're in to be able to make sure they reside in the appropriate district. So although you've talked about we got a lot of time, you don't. Thank you.
Thank you. Once again, Ms. Fisher puts us straight. Thomas Osterholt. And after that, Wes Blackman.
So Thomas Osterholt, 2111 Notre Dame Drive. Actually, I hate following Peggy because
Yeah, what do you?
because she's the best, actually. But again, I support option 5. It makes sense. And once I heard the proclamation regarding Black History Month, I know it's going to be, has to be a 5-0.
Yep.
Option 5.
Thank you very much. Wes Blackman, and after Wes, we have Deborah Robel. Am I saying that right? Robert. Oh, Deborah Robel. Hi.
Hi there. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Commissioners. Wes Blackman, 241 Columbia Drive, and member of the former Charter Review Committee, which made the recommendation of single-member commission district representation. I'd like to make you aware that I was a big proponent of a truly representational voting based on population and going even farther by adding 2 at-large seats to the dais. I hope that someday this further change to the city charter has its day on the ballot. But that is not why I'm here tonight. The committee recommended various charter amendments on the March 2022 ballot. The most important concern, commissioner representation being voted on only by those registered voters in the district in which they reside. This was done with the realization that the traditional 4 equal quadrants and the lines that define their borders would need to be redrawn. The consultants at Florida Atlantic University confirmed the intuitive feeling of the Charter Review Committee members that this change was long overdue. We also realized that in order to bring out the best results for local representative government, the process had to be followed through with integrity to the very end. Tonight, you must make that last critical decision where the new lines are ultimately placed. You are being told by your consultants that option 5 is defensible in court, keeps commissioners in their current districts, and residents are telling you that option 5 preserves the voice of a historically disenfranchised community. No more discussion is needed. Potential candidates are making plans now. They need to reside domicile in the district they represent by the middle of May 2023 for the next election in March of 2024. Those people and the public need to know where their new district lines are. Do the right thing, adopt option 5, and do it tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Richard Stowe. And then Deborah Robert. Whatever your name is.
Richard Stowe, 414 North Federal Highway. Well, it's rare I agree with Wes Blackman on issues, but today we concur and I do support option 5. I did go to the meeting on Saturday briefly and asked a question as to whether the line could be withdrawn from Federal Highway to the alley east of Federal Highway so that it conformed to the historic districts. Did the consultants
We don't listen.
Of course. And so I'm good with it either way, but
We appreciate that.
I appreciate the public coming out in support of option 5.
It was great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, and Deborah. Last but not least, Deborah. Did I miss anybody? Does anybody else want to speak before I, do you ever hold your peace?
We still have 10 more on.
Yeah, I know.
Good evening, Mayor and Commission. Good evening, ma'am. Yeah, I did want to thank you too, because it was really nice to come on Saturday to the group meeting about.
Address, Deborah?
Oh, so sorry. I'm at Deborah Robert, 127 South K Street. And I just want to say, I really did enjoy and appreciate that we had the meeting on Saturday. I know you've called for more input before, but you know, sometimes there's a call to arms, and it was really nice to hear all the different voices, get to meet new people. I don't know a lot of folks from District 1, so that was really wonderful. And I just love to see this entire community come together as one. I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was a beautiful meeting, and I really appreciated learning. And that was the one thing I think that's important for people that are even not in this room right now, that we have a lot to learn from each other. And I can't tell you how much it meant to me. I can't tell you how much it meant to me to be able to all speak together to you. So I am completely for Plan 5. I think it doesn't seem to divide anyone. It seems to do the job. I think we should do that today. And I was also on the Charter Review Board when we decided on single district. I think this is a very important portion of it, is to keep these kind of delineations and let our communities grow and our associations grow, and just keep everyone together. Don't divide. That's all I've got to say. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. Nobody else that's in the room? Where's your blue card? You gotta have a blue card. Get that in a blue card.
I'm just gonna say thank you. I'm just gonna say thank you.
And we're gonna say you.
1106 South Palmway. My name is Edmund DeVoe, and I want to thank my twin brother for the wonderful speech he made. I heard he was serving up some
Amen.
no, he was serving up some scotch, whiskey, and moonshine. Thank you.
If only we had known, Carl. Thank you very much, Ed. Okay, Madam Clerk, nobody else, great. Madam Clerk, I hear that you've got 10 to read.
I actually received only 10, and here they are.
Okay.
Adrian Copeland, 127 North Palmway, Unit 1. Dear Commission, was it not the goal of this commission to preserve the neighborhoods as they currently are, so as to retain each commissioner in their district? Then the only choice is option 5, is it not? Furthermore, it is imperative that Sarah Maliga, who is well admired and respected for her business acumen, be retained, as she indubitably has the backs of the majority of our citizenry. Her sound voice, voting record, and behavior on the dais has proved this to us time and time again, unlike some others on this commission who seem to want to lose her voice in order to further their own agendas. Vote option 5 and heed the advice of the experts and what your voters want by having chosen single member voting districts whilst appeasing the courts. Listen to the sound advice of the third-party experts from FAU that this commission hired and used our hard-earned tax dollars to pay for. Vote option 5. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bo Allen, 208 South Lakeside Drive. Please support the option 5 redistricting map that keeps the Lake Osborne community intact and retains each commissioner in their district. The alternate map, if chosen, will disenfranchise voters. The commission's stated goals at the beginning of this process were to preserve the neighborhoods as they currently are and retain each commissioner in their district. Option 5 does both. Option 3 will displace Commissioner Maliga, which some of the commissioners want for what can be seen only as political reasons. Those same commissioners want to throw out the public input garnered at the public meetings because they don't like the resulting map, which best represents the neighborhoods. That map is option 5. This past election, the residents voted to change the city charter to allow single member voting districts, which was done to ensure representation from all four corners of the city. Option 5 is the best choice to accomplish that goal and does not divide the Lake Osborne community, a historic neighborhood with deep roots in the city. I urge you to support and vote for option 5 tonight. Lily Hughes, 208 South Lakeside Drive, apartment 202. Support option 5. Redistricting is a very serious issue and one that the city has never had a chance to consider. That's why we have to get it right. Option 5 keeps the neighborhoods intact and retains each commissioner in their district, which was the goal of this commission when they began the redistricting process. Listen to the third-party experts you hired from FAU and vote for option 5. Thomas Cavallo, 208 South Lakeside Drive. Redistricting is a very serious issue and one that the city has never had a chance to consider. That's why we have to get it right. Option 5 keeps the neighborhoods intact and retains each commissioner in their district, which was the goal of this commission when they began the redistricting process. Listen to the third-party experts you hired from FAU and vote for option 5. Robert Dorinzo, 531 North Ocean Breeze. Dear Mayor and Commissioners, please approve map option 5, proposed redistricting map. Thank you. Erin Allen, 208 Lakeside Drive. This commission is the epitome of the phraseology paralysis by analysis. You want to study things to death and use taxpayers' dollars to fund study after study. And then when you don't like the results, you want to toss it to the curb. I, for one, am tired of your abuse of taxpayers' monies to fund your personal agendas. This commission hired FAU's Geoscience Department and its experts to guide you in the process of redistricting our city. This is a process that is critical to ensuring a fair and balanced representation of all residents of the city. Lake Worth Beach has never engaged in the redistricting process, and I commend you for having the foresight to hire experts to keep you on the straight and narrow and protect you from a discrimination suit. As part of the process, you wanted the public to weigh in, and weigh in they did. And those that spoke the loudest, some of you now want to silence and marginalize the Lake Osborne community, a district steeped in rich history in our city. The option 5 map that has overwhelming support of the Lake Osborne neighborhood achieves what you wanted as you embarked on this process, and that was to retain each commissioner in their district and keep the neighborhoods intact while complying with the population criteria for redistricting. Some of you don't want option 5 for reasons only you know. One can't help but wonder if the fact that the alternative option displaces one commissioner, Commissioner Maliga, from her district, that some of you would be pleased with that for political reasons. Let's listen to the experts you hired who sanctioned option 5 as a map that would comply with the even distribution of the population required for a lawful redistricting and keeps the neighborhoods wholly intact and each commissioner in their respective district. No more studies, no more public meetings, no more kicking the can down the road. Listen to the loud and clear voices of your constituents tonight and vote for option 5. Tom Johnson, 108 Harvard Drive. I support redistricting alternative option 5. We need to keep the historic Osborne community intact, as well as keeping our city's finest commissioner, Sarah Parmaliga, in her seat. Mary Lou Machin, 27 Harbor Drive. I'm urging you to vote for option 5 in the redistricting meeting. Once again, the city has hired experts and has used taxpayers' money for the expert opinion, and then the commission refuses the advice of the experts and refuses to listen to the majority of their citizens. Option 5 is the only option that keeps neighborhoods intact and retains each commissioner in their district, which was the goal. Please follow the recommendations from FAU's consultants and the wishes of the majority of your citizens. Vote option 5. Thank you very much. Craig Frost, 1224 South L Street. There really shouldn't be any more discussions about this. If you're paying attention and actually listening to the engaged public, then pass map 5 and move on. And the last comment is from Amy Cabsinel, 20 Harvard Drive. Population changes make redistricting in Lake Worth Beach necessary. This is unprecedented. It should be done with the utmost care to ensure that voters' rights are retained. Therefore, option 5 should be approved. At the beginning of the redistricting process, the commission's goals were to keep the neighborhoods intact and keep each commissioner in their district. Input at public meetings supported these goals. I am curious, what has changed and why are some commissioners once again ignoring the advice of the experts and the will of the public? Voter representation is at stake. This behavior is appalling, dangerous, and anti-democratic, small d. Stop playing political games and approve option 5. That is the last comment. For some reason, the commission camera is off.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Alfonso, can you come in and fix the camera, please? Thank you. That's the end of the comments, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. We have a motion and a second, and because this is such an important vote for all of us, I'd like to just do a voice vote. Yeah, roll call. District 1. Yes. District 2. District 3.
Yes.
District 4.
Yes.
And the mayor says yes, it's unanimous. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. This has been, we take a lot of challenges on, and this has been one of them. And I want to thank the FAU staff. You've done a yeoman's job.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to everybody in the community who came out and supported the Osborne community and kept them together. So thank you all.
This is a very good example of the public coming out and making a very strong voice, and we listen. Thank you. Moving on.
So, well,
sorry.
quick question for informational purposes and everyone in the room and Mr. City Attorney, is it executing? What's the next step? What can people expect? So.
Well, the next step, we'll have to work with supervisor elections to take the maps that FAU created and provide them to her so that she can get ready for the March 2024 election.
Yep, I'll piggyback. I know I've mentioned it before as well.
Yeah.
Can we get something on the next election to make sure that we revisit this every 10 years with somebody who's party neutral? You'd mentioned something similar. The charter, we have to put charter amendments on the ballot, do we not?
Right, as Carmen said, there's an ordinance, so we'll bring back the ordinance. The ordinance will adopt the maps after 2 readings. That will be sent to the commissioner, to supervisor elections. She'll place it on the upcoming ballot. As to your question as to whether you want to have something in the charter that says every 10 years, that would be a different ordinance because that wasn't part of charter. But if that's what you want, we could certainly adopt that to be voted on in March of 24 as well. I think we have enough time to get that done.
Consensus to do that?
Yeah,
All right.
and especially with the neutral third party voter, like a person that's doing the maps.
Right, something that says that every 10, that, you kind of reaffirm the fact that we're redistricting and there'll be a study and every 10 years it'll be a nonpartisan.
Nonpartisan.
With the census. So.
Based on the census. And I'll get with FAU and talk to them about what's the best timing to do that.
And he may or may not want to go through this again. Thank you, really, thank you. You've done a tremendous job. Okay.
Thank you.
We love you. This would be a good time to take a break. Okay, yeah. All right, we're going to take a little break, Madam Clerk.
Thank you.
Okay, Madam Mayor, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's back on.
Madam Mayor, it is 7:40 and we are still live.
Thank you. Good evening and welcome back. Next we have the first reading of an ordinance. Here it is. Mr. Attorney, would you read by title?
Yes, Madam Mayor, ordinance number 2022-17 is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Lake Worth Beach, Florida, amending the official zoning map by approving the creation of a residential plan development district located at the northeast corner of Second Avenue North and the Lake Worth Drainage District E4 Canal to construct an approximately 5-story, 195-unit residential plan development. More particularly described in Exhibit A, located within the mixed-use West MUW zoning district with the future land use designation of mixed-use West MUW, subject to specific development standards and set forth in Exhibit B and conditions of approval set forth in Exhibit C. Approving a development of significant impact, approving a conditional use permit, approving a height bonus incentive through the city's Sustainable Bonus Incentive Program, approving a major site plan for the development of a residential plan development, providing for severability, conflicts, and an effective date.
Thank you, sir. Well done.
Thank you.
All right. The title of this case is ordinance number 2022-17. This is a quasi judicial hearing. Do the commissioners have any ex parte communications, personal investigations, or campaign contributions to disclose from the applicant? Commission one, just one. Two?
No, ma'am.
Three? Nope. Four?
No.
Neither do I. Thank you. All those giving testimony, please raise your right hand and be sworn in. And the city clerk will do that.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Please say, I do. If you're
I do.
representing a party, please give your name and address and state the party for whom you are representing. Thank you.
Okay, when you come up, I guess, say that. Yeah. May we have a presentation by the city?
Yes, Madam Mayor. For the record, Erin Sita, Assistant Director with Community Sustainability.
Slow down a little bit, you speak really fast. And for the people out, it's really hard.
Extra coffee, you know, to stay awake. That was it.
Take a deep breath.
So William Waters is online. He is fighting a cold, so we are grateful that he is here, but not. So, as you stated, the item before is for a residential plan development. A development is significant impact, a major site plan, conditional use, and sustainable bonus. You can see here the site is generally located on the western boundary of the city, north of Second Avenue North and east of the E4 Canal. Again, this is a residential plan development of significant impact. It's 195 units, 3 mid-rise residential multifamily structures, 1 amenity building and clubhouse, and each of the multifamily buildings will have 65 residential units. There's a conditional use, which is required to allow any residential over 7,500 square feet. A sustainable bonus request for the additional 3 stories of bonus height. And the applicant has selected to opt in to the workforce housing ordinance to take advantage of the 25% parking reduction as a component of that. And as such is deed restricting 30 workforce housing units. You can see here's I snipped this from the county's latest pictometry. A nice bird's eye aerial. There is a cell tower as a component of the site. It is surrounded, and we'll go through the surrounding land uses, but you can see it's surrounded by 2, 3, and 4-story existing multifamily in the area. Again, the existing uses and existing zoning districts are all mixed use west and all multifamily. Here's a snippet of the site plan. Again, this is the 195 units, the 3 mid-rise buildings. There is a lake with an amenitized trail. The breakdown is 105 1-bedroom units, 92 bedroom units. The applicant is providing 279 parking spaces. However, with the workforce housing program, 237 are required. They are providing 6 electrical vehicle spaces, which are not required for residential development, 19 bicycle spaces, 54 compact spaces. 12 of the compact spaces are utilized for required parking. The rest of the required parking is, as it's proposed right now, is met through standard spaces. And there are 20 on-street parking spaces. The max alternatives parking spaces permitted in our land development regulations, which is the most they could utilize, are 59 for the project with the scale. Again, they are utilizing 12. You can see the architectural style is modern. Again, this is the a bird's eye view of the proposed project. The E4 canal is on your left. 2nd Avenue North is on your right. You can see the on-street parking there as well. This is looking north across 2nd Avenue North, internal to the project. And some of the components of the architectural style are that there's some reliefs and there's substantial balconies. There's also scoring to give additional detail, and then the paint is adds additional dimension to the facades. Here is the side elevation. And then the front elevation, which is the interior parking area. And then this would be what you would see from 2nd Avenue North. So sustainable bonus, I will note that there was a versioning error in the software. And so the figure that is actually in your CC staff report doesn't match your planning and zoning board staff report. That was an error with the software, with people punching things in and out. So I worked with Melissa to address that so it won't happen in the future. The correct calculated value is the 856, with 50% to be paid to the city is $428,321.25. That's required to be paid within a year. 50% will be provided in improvements equal in value to no less than, again, the other half. So they are proposing the 6 EV charging stations, and then also the Florida Green Building Certificate. There's a duplicate there for $287,547.50. So a discussion point, which the applicant will take you through, is the applicant is also requesting that the city commission, and we wanted to bring this to you for direction, is they are providing 20 parking spaces on street accessible to the public. They do not need those parking spaces towards their required parking. So because they exceed their parking requirement, they would like to utilize their on-street parking that they're providing and to get credit, sustainable bonus credit for that particular parking. In addition, in their presentation, they will discuss some of the additional improvements they're making, including coastal hazard improvements on the banks of the Lake Worth Drainage District Canal. And they'll walk you through some of the constraints of the site on drainage. This is in a C51 subbasin, so it has an extremely heavy drainage requirement, much so than most development. And so their retention and detention requirements are very high here. They have the lake, plus they're required to have exfiltration under almost the entire parking lot in addition to a drainage lake. So again, in the analysis, the staff has reviewed the application, has determined it is consistent with the comprehensive plan, the strategic plan, the land development regulations, including the sections relating to general findings to harmony with the LDRs and protection of the public interest, criteria for plan developments, qualitative development standards, and specific standards for all conditional uses, including the development of significant impact subset of standards, and the review and decision criteria for all sustainable bonus improvements. All of those review criteria and staff analysis are included in the planning and zoning board. There is a motion to approve or disapprove the ordinance on first reading, and then to schedule the second reading or adoption for March 7th. That concludes my presentation. I will turn it over to the applicant.
Thank you. I have I know I see lights on. I have a couple questions. How do we quantify $287,547 for the green building? Whoa, where does that come from?
So in our ordinance, green building is allowed, Florida Green Building Certificate or equivalent certification is allowed to account for 50% of the sustainable bonus value. That's been since the onset of the program, right? So what we do is we take this total sustainable bonus value, we take 50% out because in your resolution, you require that 50% be paid.
Within a year of what?
Within a year of approvals.
Approval of the project or CO?
The project.
So if we approve the project, we'd have that money within a year.
Yes. And then obviously they are able to extend that time frame through there's an administrative extension process. That is, so they get the first 50% up front to kind of lock in the entitlement. And then what happens is the second is due prior to the certificate of occupancy. And we typically require it prior to the issuance of the building permit. So we, just like at the same time that we collect our impact fees for the county, we would collect this. Or before we issue the building permit, we take the list of your sustainable bonus improvements, and then we ask for documentation that the sustainable bonus improvements basically meet the qualifications. So for green building, you would take that 50% number and then you would divide that in half again. And that's the number. So it's of the value. So in the code, it says, green building gives you half the value of your sustainable bonus. So maybe I should explain how
did we get to the total number of the sustainable bonus?
Okay, so in our annual resolution where you adopt a fee schedule.
Right.
So every year you adopt a sustainable bonus fee that is per square foot.
Okay, that's good.
So every square foot above the second story has a dollar value assigned to it. So it's really simple arithmetic. We multiply 750 by the total square foot above the second floor for all three buildings. Because they are not utilizing density or intensity, then the fee remains at 750 a square foot. Sometimes the math does get a little more complex if we have layers of development that are at 750 and then layers that are at the $15, which use the height, density, and intensity as well. So those are your two levels.
And so for that 287 times 2, I can't do math. They get extra stories. They get extra height, three extra.
Yeah. Yeah. The total sustainable bonus fee is about 800 and change. So half will be paid to you.
The city,
not you personally. You're not gonna get a check. You all will be paid to the city. The other half, per your resolution that you all adopted and per the adopting ordinance that the sustainable bonus program that was adopted in 2013 and then revised per your resolution, that other half can be met through qualifying improvements.
Right.
And so the discussion we're bringing to you is because we've gotten a lot of direction on what qualifying improvements are.
Right.
In the code, it says things that have, one of the things you said in your resolution is stuff that has a public benefit. You wanted to allow qualifying improvements to have a public benefit. Well, we've looked at that at parks, but we've never discussed with you parking. And this is the first development we've ever had that has actually exceeded its parking requirements. So we wanted to get a little feedback from you is just like if a park component, an amenity component was accessible to the public, like the trail with Lake Work Station, if you had parking that was accessible to the public, but exceeded the parking requirement, do you want to let that count towards sustainable bonus?
Interesting question based on where it is. I mean, it's not a place that's heavily, I'm not being critical, I'm just thinking this through. We usually do that when there's going to be a traffic issue where there's public parking problems. That corner of the universe is not really well traveled. And I think that the people that are going to park there are either going to be residents of the building or their guests.
Well, I know that they wanted to present that. That's not our item to present. We're just making you aware that they're going to be presenting that. So I know that that's going to come in their presentation for,
Okay.
we asked them to bring information to you because it's their ask.
Okay, I've got a couple more questions. I know the lights are going up, but let me just indulge me. 30 apartments out of almost 200 are going to be workforce moderate, that those levels of work. I mean, that's 30 out of 200. Does that meet our standard of?
Yes, so you have a 15% requirement for a plan. So that's the ordinance that was adopted. Yes. So it's 15% of the total.
Yeah.
Mhm.
you know, It just seems
Sorry,
so
30.
few that we need.
That's our,
Um,
yeah, that's our.
Okay, that was a question. That was a question. Okay, well, I'll move on. I know that Commissioner Malaga had her light on first.
Yeah, a couple things. Can you go back to the slide with the numbers for the sustainable bonus? Because you had 287, 547, 50. And then 50,000 for EV charging stations. That gives me $337,547.
Well, this is why they're asking for additional stuff to get credit for.
Correct. So I'm just doing the math. So if we go back to that slide, they're asking for additional, the rest of that money, which is 150,000 and 148 and change, to be waived to put parking on a street where we don't have a lot of public use. Right? So that was my first concern, was the same thing, and I have it all over my notes here. And I think I even emailed you last week about this. I just think for 195 units, you're already 42 short of one person having a car per unit, and you're in the middle of nowhere. It's not like there's a bus route and a bunch of transit in that area. So that is a concern for me. I also don't like that there's not 1 3-bedroom in here and it's multifamily.
Right.
To me, this is single family.
What?
1 3-bedroom.
3-bedroom.
There's no 3-bedroom units. And to me, it just doesn't make sense that if it's multifamily, we wouldn't have at least 5 3-bedrooms or something. Because that to me, this is single people or single people with a roommate.
Yeah.
Or an office space.
Or 1 or 2 children.
I did have a couple questions. One was the 30 workforce. Do you have the slide of, I don't know what page it is, but the one that shows the side right and front elevation and the rear elevation? So I didn't see that in the.
That's Second Avenue North. Yeah. I like that they have balconies. And
No, I do too.
Yeah.
But the one that I'm asking her to bring up, if they have it in there for the public to see, it's just very boring and it looks like the back of a storage facility. There's nothing. It's A-22.
I can pull up the plans, but I would just say before we get too far into questions and discussions, I would, because it sounds like a lot of your questions are actually not for me. They're actually for them.
Chicken.
Come on, Aaron. Okay, I'll wait.
Yeah. Commissioner McVoy, if you have any questions for Aaron,
I'll follow them.
Mr. Diaz, do you have any questions for Aaron?
Yeah, actually, I do. Thank you to the applicant for including a cross section of that canal. I think that's really interesting. So the question to Aaron is is the drainage district, do they need to make improvements to that? Because I look at the cross section and it's kind of all over the place compared to other canals. So
You know that as the Lakewood Drainage District has required quite a bit from them. And they do have quite a bit of drainage requirements in addition. So again, I'm not an engineer.
Right.
So although I like to play one with my planner hat on sometimes, I know the applicant's engineer is here and they will be able to walk you through the engineering requirements. And one of the things we ask for them is to look at what the Lakewood Drainage District required and then to provide to you, because that's the other part of that they'd like credit for, is some of these additional improvements and water storage and other things that they're doing beyond, if they're doing, I said, bring something beyond what is being required because of those improvements, are a benefit to the water system, because the C-51 is a very big deal. If the C-51 doesn't work, the whole county drowns, including the city.
Yeah, and that's that. Right. Well, and that's why I ask, 'cause, obviously the watershed is something I'm really familiar with. And I was just curious, and that's the preemptive question, I guess, to the applicant is like, is the drainage district going to make improvements to that canal in conjunction with this, just for future thoughts and not because after your presentation, I definitely have some thoughts.
What they're gonna tell me.
Yeah.
William asked them to bring back stuff
Yeah.
that they're doing in addition to what is required.
Yeah. 'Cause-
So we'll see. We'll all stay tuned together.
Thank you. Looking forward to it because I definitely have some thoughts on that. So.
Okay, thank you. So. Applicant?
Yeah.
You're up. They're huddling. They're conferring. Which is the first thing.
Good evening. My name is Brian Terry. I'm with Insight Studio. I'm here representing the Richmond Group. And certainly appreciate the opportunity to bring this community in front of you guys. Have been working with Aaron and staff and William for a while now, going through the process. And I think it's been beneficial to both sides. I think we made improvements, made adjustments, worked through a lot of design components that I think is reflective of Lake Worth Beach. So there's a lot of duplication in what she just presented and what I have. So I'm going to try to skip through this. I would like to touch just a little bit on Richmond Group as a company. So based in West Palm Beach, or our offices here in West Beach, Shane is here representing Richmond Group. I think what's really important to understand is that, again, they are multifamily. They construct and then operate and own and hold these properties that they develop in the communities they're within. As you can see, they manage around 26,000 different units throughout different states, but a lot of that here in Florida. And then over 13,000 of those fall within the workforce or affordable categories that they manage throughout those communities. So again, you can see a couple of examples of different communities that are under or have been built and are active communities here in Florida.
Can I stop you for just a second? It says there's 26,000 units. It looks like half of them are workforce. Is that accurate?
Right. Now, not everything is deed restricted, but they do have a significant amount of their units that do fall into those categories. Absolutely.
And these would be deed restricted?
These will be 30.
30 will be deed restricted here, but they operate a lot of projects that rent, even though they're not deed restricted within the affordable.
Right. Again, a lot of the development and communities that they have constructed and operate are in locations where they're providing housing at a market rate, but also that is within those affordable and workforce ranges.
So you break that out a little bit more. Workforce is quite different than affordable. And then we sometimes hear that you really want to talk about truly affordable, because even the affordable based on the AMI can still be pretty pricey for a lot. Just so we understand a little bit more.
Educate us.
How are you? My name is Brian Seymour with Gunster. I'm an attorney for the applicant. I'm going to sort of walk through a couple of pieces of this. This is the third time today I've actually had this conversation about affordable and workforce. There's defined affordable. There's Florida statute definitions of affordable. There's the county definitions of affordable that are called workforce. And really what we're talking about is the various ranges. So of that 13,000, some are deed restricted. Some are within those very low ranges. And in this case, the deed restricted are going to be in the 3 lowest ranges of the county. There's 4 ranges they have. So 3 will be in the lowest ranges. So those, the way they work, they're going to be in the lower ranges. And then the rest of the units, because of the nature of the project, including the numbers of bedrooms, really actually will have additional undeed restricted that will allow the market that aren't still going to be, that they're not going to necessarily be much outside that range, if at all. And so it's just a function sometimes of where the market is. Of the 13, I don't have a breakdown of exactly how many are deed restricted, how many are not. They're not all in Florida. Some are in other states as well. the point to be made is they know how to make sure to operate their projects, build their projects, and develop in a way that they can provide the actual units that the communities do need. And that's really the goal here of what's trying to be done as well. And that's why they've opted into the ordinance. So the workforce housing ordinance was passed after the application was filed. So
Our Lakewood.
yours, correct, which is the only one that would apply. And so they opted in and said, we're not just going to do these because we think the market will be okay anyway. We're going to agree, we're going to restrict 30 of them for 20 years. Is it 20 years? Or
I actually don't.
for however long you required them to be restricted in your ordinance.
And for which you get a benefit. It's not.
There is some benefit to it.
Well, yeah.
But that's the pure restriction, right? So you're going to have that guaranteed. But again, within that 13 that we were talking about that Brian showed, they range both from restricted to non-restricted based on markets. And it's about how they build, what they provide, how they manage things.
You know, I have to echo Commissioner Malega's concern about no 3-bedroom apartments. That's not families. Those aren't families.
So just so you understand, I hear what you're saying. The question though is not a multifamily versus not single family.
Understood, but
Yeah,
you-
the land use terminologies of multifamily simply means,
He knows that. We're just.
okay, so what you're talking about is you want larger families within units in a couple of the units.
I mean, if you have one or two children, you can do 2 bedrooms, but
Yeah,
if you have,
that's how I grew up.
well,
Yeah.
but I mean, if you have, we have families with more than 2 children or 1 child. So if we're talking about relieving the housing crunch a little bit, a lot of those people are families that are looking for places to live.
Well, it says each of the multi-family buildings will
Right.
have, those
Yeah,
are not
you've used that
multi-family
term,
buildings. So you guys put that in your report. So I'm just throwing that back to you.
So they are by the code, the report, the reasoning that it's written that way is their code, they are multifamily buildings because the buildings have
Exactly.
multiple families. But I hear your point. The point of that wasn't that there will be multiple families in a unit
We
or that,
understand that, really. We really understand that.
well, that's why it's in the report that way. That's all.
Understand